Hold on to your hats, folks, because this story is gonna blow your mind. Imagine over 100 men, women, and kids just vanished, gone without a trace, not a footprint, not a scrap of evidence, nothing. Hard to believe, huh? I'm talking about Roanoke, America's first English colony, set up in 1587. So tell me, how could an entire town disappear? Did they get wiped out by disease? Or maybe there was a surprise attack? Could they have joined a local native tribe, blending in and vanishing from history? Or did they try to sail away and get lost at sea? Here's a kicker. When supply ships returned 3 years later, the only clue left behind was one word, carved into a tree, CROATOAN. A single word. That's it. And it's been driving historians nuts for centuries. So what really happened to the lost colony? Buckle up, because over the next 30 minutes, we're diving deep into the mystery, the vanished city, the unsolved clues, and the theories that'll make your jaw drop. Let's get into it. Back in 1587, England was hungry for a piece of the New World. Queen Elizabeth herself was calling shots, hoping to plant an English foothold across the pond. Roanoke Island, off the coast of what's now North Carolina, was the perfect spot. Rivers, forests, fish in the sea, and plenty of room to grow crops. 115 brave souls, men, women, and kids, signed up for the adventure. Some were farmers, some tradesmen, a few folks just itching for a new start. They packed their lives into wooden ships, crossed the Atlantic, and landed on this strange, wild shore. But the New World wasn't a walk in the park. Starvation was always looming. Diseases they'd never seen back home spread like wildfire, and relations with the local native tribes were complicated, to say the least. Sometimes friendly, sometimes tense. Survival meant being clever, tough, and lucky. We gotta remember, this was 1587, no fast travel, no instant supplies, no hospitals. When winter came, food was low, spirits were lower, and every day was a gamble. But the settlers kept at it. They carved out a little slice of England on a wild, untamed shore. Here's where things get real strange. The settlers expected a supply ship to come back in a year, but delays happened. England had wars, politics, and pirates to deal with, and that little colony out there got left dangling for 3 whole years. When the supply ship finally returned, the village was empty, not a soul in sight, tools still lying around, homes standing, fires out, and on one tree, carved deep into the bark, was a single word, CROATOAN. Now imagine being the captain of that ship. You pull up, expecting smiles, stories, and a warm meal, and you get silence, mystery, in that one cryptic word. Goosebumps, right? Word got back to England fast, and historians and officials were baffled. Letters were written, reports filed, but no one could explain the disappearance. Some thought the colonists had been wiped out by local tribes. Others suggested hurricanes or disease, but nothing could be confirmed. It's as if the colony vanished into thin air. Over time, the story became a legend, and theories stacked up like old books in a library. But each clue, each scrap of evidence only raised more questions. Let's start with the word itself, CROATOAN. Most historians believe it pointed to nearby CROATOAN Island, modern-day Hatteras. Could the colonists have relocated there? Some evidence suggests they may have integrated with local native tribes. Oral histories hint at sightings of English settlers living among them, but it's tough to prove after all this time. Others think it was a warning or message. Maybe the settlers tried to sail to safety, but ran into trouble on the sea. Hurricanes were common in the region, and a small fleet of wooden ships could easily vanish without a trace. Another theory? Disease and famine. The settlers were cut off from regular supplies. Crops failed, malnutrition set in, illness spread like wildfire. One bad winter, and, well, it's not hard to imagine a tragic ending. And remember, this was the 16th century. Medical knowledge was practically non-existent. A simple fever or infection could wipe out dozens in weeks. Combine that with starvation, and it's a recipe for disaster. Some historians point to conflict with local tribes. It's possible tensions boiled over, perhaps a skirmish or attack wiped out the settlers. Yet, if that happened, why leave behind tools, huts, and personal items? It doesn't add up. That's part of why Roanoke has baffled experts for centuries. Whatever happened, it had to be sudden. A slow disappearance would have left more signs, but here we're talking about a near-complete vanishing act. Fast forward to modern times. Archaeologists have been combing the Outer Banks and nearby islands, using metal detectors, excavation, and even DNA testing. Small artifacts show hints that colonists may have survived longer than originally thought, blending into local tribes, trading, or moving inland. Yet, after over 400 years of digging, no definitive proof has surfaced. The mystery endures, and every discovery seems to raise more questions than answers. Even though the colony vanished, Roanoke left a legacy. It set the stage